exciting, wasn't it? Like a live event happening in front of us.
So, to get things going, how about you tell us about you being the best Doctor Who ever? How did that come about?
That is a matter of opinion. But God bless you. Of course, that might all change next Saturday. That's exciting, isn't it? That's very exciting. Doctor Who, it was a show I grew up loving. I had posters on my bedroom wall of Tom Baker, who I met in a bookshop in Glasgow, and he signed my poster. And then by a weird quirk of fate, all these years later, I ended up being in it, and it's been it's amazing because of that, because I grew up watching this show and then I ended up being in this show, and that's unlikely. And then the show continued and did well, and that's unlikely. And then you leave the show, and 10 years later you're in a hall in Belgium with all these lovely people. It's a weird show to be involved with. It's a lovely show to be involved with, but to be at the centre of that kind of the kind of scrutiny and attention and enthusiasm that Doctor Who gets it's quite humbling, but also lovely, because you've got this lovely thing for life that people feel very. It's a lovely show to be associated with because people feel very benevolent towards it. It's a happy show. There's very few people who get annoyed by Doctor Who or who don't like Doctor Who. It's one of those shows that even if you don't watch it, you sort of know what it is and you feel kind of warm and squidgy about it. So it's a very nice thing to be involved with. It's a bit overwhelming at times because it follows you wherever you go. But I'm not going to complain about that because I get to be here with all you lovely people. And that's very nice.
I've already seen many hands raised, so would it be okay if I open the floor for
I would love it. That's what I came for. Look at this. I can look heroic on a speaker. I won't stand on it. That will be wrong. I'd end up crowd surfing. Steady on, steady on. Steady on, Belgium. Hi. Hello, hi.
My question was, obviously you, with your work and the person you are, you made me change my vision of life. And I wanted to know, with all you've worked on and the people you met, as there's something that has changed your life or your vision of life?
Oh, that's a deep question. I'm going to have to lie down. I love this 80s couch, by the way. It's very retro. I'll go this way, better sightlines, right? What has changed my vision of life? I mean, the thing that really changes your vision of life, to answer your question very seriously, I suppose, is probably having kids. But that sort of alters everything that you're about, doesn't it? Anyone here who has had that privilege will know it. Everything, all your priorities change, and everything that you do in life, you do for a different reason. So I suppose probably that, really. Yeah, it's hard to top that. We also have a dog. But that seems to be more to do with just stopping getting her pissing on your shoes. So yeah, probably having kids. I mean, that's quite life-changing. I mean, lots of things have been, I suppose, influence you and set you off in directions. It's like, you know that movie Sliding Doors? You never know what's going to happen and what direction your life will take, and how things could have worked out differently. But probably the biggest shift is when you become a parent, I guess. Hi.
As a doctor, you've had quite a few memorable quotes and catchphrases. Which one is the one that stuck by you the most?
Yeah, probably that. Probably allons-y. which has never felt more appropriate than when I'm here. Aloysius is probably the one that stuck, I guess, wasn't it? I mean, thankfully Russell T Davies is this sort of brilliant writer who has this head full of stuff, and things just kept coming out of it. So to have his scripts for 4.5 years was a total joy, really, and the sort of the lava of brilliance that would flow from the volcano of his mind. It was very nice to be on the receiving end of that. But yes, I guess certainly in Doctor Who terms, the one that sticks is probably Alan Z. That's probably the one. And I forget things that I'm associated with. People come up to me. I was in a Harry Potter film once. But it was quite a long time ago. And I don't always remember the things. So people will come up to me and go, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Which, you know, isn't always clear what they mean. But I've learned to recognise that as a Harry Potter reference. Sometimes you don't always get the references that you should. Yeah, I think probably yes. I will go with Aloysius, I think. Yeah. Who's next?
Hi.
Hi!
Hi. I think you get this a lot, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Sure.
Can I ruffle your hair?
It's too crispy. It would brittle, it would shatter into 1,000 pieces. Honestly, you don't want to.
I do.
You really don't. It's all sort of product and nastiness. It would spoil whatever illusion you clearly have. So I think it's best to. But thank you for the offer. I think, but I think we should move swiftly on.
Hello.
Hello.
You play a lot of different roles. I loved you in Jessica Jones, for example.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Is there any kind of role you still dream of playing?
Not really, because until the sort of script arrives that's written well by somebody brilliant, you can't really imagine what that might be. You can't imagine. It's hard to imagine a character. I mean, I don't know why. So, oh yes, I'd like to play a baker, or I don't know, a sewage worker. I don't know what that would be. You know, until. Because a character has so many different things, and it's all to do with the writing, all to do with. So until presumably there are characters that have not yet been written that I would love to play, but I don't know what they are yet. I suppose there are characters in certain plays I know that I'd like a go at some point. There's some Shakespeare parts I'd certainly like to play that I've not done. Oh, sorry. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, I suppose, yeah, what's hard to know is what the characters that one hasn't been allowed to look at yet. So that's the exciting thing as well. What's new, what's out there. I'm available for all offers. I will read all scripts, and my agent's number is, you can look that up. Hi.
Hi.
Nice scarf.
Thanks.
And hat.
Thanks.
Scarf and hat combo.
Yes.
Did you buy them together?
Nope.
They came separately?
This one is self-made.
Self-made! Round of applause for the scarf! Look at that scarf! Where'd you get the hat?
It's my father's.
Is it? It's very nice. Did he actually ever wear it?
Yes.
Does he still wear it?
No.
Oh. Well, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, well done. Sorry, what was your question?
It's a very important question.
Oh.
Would you like a jelly baby?
Probably not, really, no. But it's a lovely thought. Thank you. Thank you very much. What flavours have you got? All of them.
Too dark to see.
All the fruits, all the jellies, all the babies, all the time. That could be their new slogan. Hello.
I know it.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you a question. A lot of people will always think in the concept of you being the doctor. But what if you woke up in the middle of the night and you heard the TARDIS sound and the doctor walks out and asks you to be his companion or her companion?
Oh, interesting.
Where would you want to go?
Oh. I mean, well, it's just a difficult question, is it? Because you feel the responsibility. Do you take the responsibility that great power and opportunity would afford you? Do you go back in time and try and right some of the wrongs that would be visited on the world? Do you go and try and change the results of some recent elections? Do you go and do that? To get a visa to come to Belgium? Yes. Or do you just go, oh, I really want to go and see the Beatles playing in the Cavern Club in 1962? Or do you want to go and see what happens next? Do you want to go right into the future and see where we end up? See if we end up, or if we're just on a kind of charred ball circling around the sun, bleakly extinct. Probably. Or maybe if you change the election results, we wouldn't end up that way. I don't know. You see, it's the chaos theory, isn't it? I'd be very torn. But I guess if you've got time travel, you have all of time to do everything that you want to do, don't you? So, which doctor has come to call on me? Which one is it? That would be weird if it was me. Oh, I thought you looked so much better in that suit. Everything. I'd do everything. I'd keep going back and redoing things. I'd play tricks on friends. It would be too tempting not to do everything, wouldn't it? Everything all the time. It'd be quite dangerous though. It always strikes me as terribly dangerous. People who end up going with the doctor, they always say they have a great time, but they die nearly 4 times a week. The mortality, it's amazing the mortality rate isn't high. Probably a little bit scary, but I think it would be, there's so much. A lot of wrongs to right, a lot of bands to see. Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
First off, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, my pleasure. I love it here.
Yeah, that's great. I want to ask you something. I know it's been a while, but how was it to play Fright Nights?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It was such a great script, and it was such a ludicrous character, which was great fun to play. He wasn't based on any particular Las Vegas magician, I promise. But we got to go to Las Vegas and watch one of them and nick all his ideas. I won't say his name in case he sues me. I got to work with Anton Yelchin, the dearly departed Anton Yelchin, who was just about one of the nicest human beings you'd ever meet. It's sort of awful, terrible tragedy that he's no longer with us. Lots of great people were in that movie. Colin Farrell, he's sort of chipped out of marble. He's a sort of perfect human being, sort of physical specimen, just walks in like that, he's sort of perfect. Everything about him. And then he's just nice and normal and cheery and fun. It was a great film. I thought it was. I was very, very pleased with the end result. I'm very sad we never made a sequel, frankly. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Imagine if I was standing in this room on my own. I'd be mental.
I wanted to ask you about Good Omens.
Yes.
Did you already read Terry Pratchett's works before being a part of the series? How was it shooting with Michael Sheen?
Well, I knew some of Terry Pratchett's work, I knew some of Neil Gaiman's work. I'm ashamed that I didn't know this novel. And I don't know how I didn't. Michael Sheen has known this novel all his life. He's sort of been waiting to play this part. I didn't know it. I don't know how it's passed me by, because I now meet people for whom it's the most important novel they've ever read. I realise now it's what an extraordinary piece of work it is. So I feel incredibly fortunate that it came my way. It's a great novel, and it's been adapted by Neil Gaiman himself. He's written all the scripts, he was on set every day, so it's very much got the stamp of authenticity for all the Good Omens fans out there. It was done with a lot of sort of love for Terry Pratchett by a lot of people involved. Michael Sheen was heaven. I mean, literally heaven, as he's playing an angel. But he's just great to work with, and almost all our stuff is, we do a lot of sitting on a park bench, kind of moaning at each other and teasing each other, and it was great. I loved it. So I haven't seen any of it yet. I hope it all works out. But shooting it was great. The scripts were great. It's looking so far like it's all going according to plan. So I'm delighted to be part of that, and I feel the weight of responsibility, because you come to shows like this, and you know, a lot of people here may have read Good Omens and may know Good Omens and may have an opinion about it, and people, you know, don't want their dreams crushed. So I'm aware that we have a responsibility to get it right, but I hope that we will. I hope you enjoy it when it comes out next year. Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I have the question, if you have any fun story about something that happened on set, it can be Doctor Who or anything else, and you think that it would be a story if you go to a bar, you meet new people, you'd be like, you know what happened at work today? Just a fun story.
I know, people always want funny stories. I never feel like I've got any. I always feel like we must be terribly dull. I mean, the thing is, certainly on Doctor Who, we had such a good time for such a lot of it that I don't remember specific sort of, and then his pants fell off. Unless it was a Captain Jack episode. Did anyone see John earlier? He's very shy. It's very difficult. I don't know, I don't remember any specific, I can't think of a specific story. I feel very blessed to have worked with all those people and to have met those people, and to now be all these years later coming to Belgium, and there's John, and we have a laugh, and I was working with Catherine just yesterday, so these people become sort of friends for life, because it was such an important time for all of us. What are funny stories? I don't know. I'll just do a dance instead, and hope that there's another question wrong soon, because I don't have an answer. I can't think of a funny story. I'm going to work on that though and get back to you with something brilliant.
Hello, David.
Hello.
I think you have a lovely accent.
Thank you, so do you.
Thank you. I was
Shouting from the back.
I was wondering if it's hard to drop it in certain roles. You have to take on another accent. What's the hardest one?
I quite like doing accents. I quite like, it feels like, makes you feel like you're someone a bit different. So I enjoy doing things in my own accent too, but there's something quite freeing about changing your voice. And sometimes obviously you have to work on them, and there are some that I've done quite a lot now, and you get used to them, and they can become a sort of second nature. And then every now and again you'll have to study a new accent because you've never done it before, and that's you work with sort of experts who tells you, well, that vowel sounds like this, and then once you sort of master it, it's a bit like you've got a new car to drive. I quite like that, so I quite like accents. There's one I cannot do, which is South African, which for some reason completely defeats me. So I would never be able to play a South African successfully. I can sort of start it alright, but then very quickly it turns into the North Country in the north of England. I sound like I'm from Birmingham. So can't hold on to that one. But other than that, I quite like an accent. I mean, until I find one that defeats me, I suppose. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You've got a guitar.
Yes.
Are you going to play a song?
Unfortunately, right?
Oh, I thought we were going to do a number. I thought that was the big finale. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. There's a question silently going around amongst my friends of the Belgian Rouvians, and the question is, in one episode you see Missy and a master getting really flirty with each other, and now we are wondering, if a Time Lord or a Time Lady starts a relationship with himself or herself of a different generation, would it be self-pleasure or incest?
On the couch. I hope we're not just suggesting this because the Doctor now for the first time has been played by a woman, because it's just as likely that two male doctors could get together, right? Or two female doctors could get together. But yes, I mean, or maybe they can just coexist without it having to turn sexual. Maybe that also. Well, it wouldn't be incest. I see what you mean. I was going to say incest is within a family, but I suppose it. I don't think I want to know. I guess it would be. I guess, technically, it would be self-pleasure. I don't think there's a term for it, because it's not real. Shh. So I don't think there's ever had to be a legal argument constructed to unpack that, which makes it a very good question, by the way. It also makes me feel a little bit ill. So, I'll say none of the above and move on swiftly. Thank you very much. Good question.
Hello.
Hi.
You played.
Just check the facts, get your facts right.
You played a lot of emotional scenes.
Thank you.
But which watching you get emotional by yourself?
Oh, I don't quite understand the question.
Wait, I have a bit.
Okay.
He asks, you played a lot of emotional scenes in Doctor Who, and he asks, you want to know what scene you get emotional by yourself as a person, as David.
Well, you mean in life, what makes
Yes.
me emotional? Well, I think the things that make everyone emotional, probably, I suppose, things obviously within your own family that are either very moving, either very touching or very sad for whatever reason. I don't think I'm unlike most human beings. Things make you sad and happy, it's hopefully as they should and as they sort of relate to you and yours and the world around you. And I think there's been a lot to be very sad about in the broader world in recent years, and a lot to make us sort of feel like we need to fight, frankly. So, I think the standard things, really. I think, the family things and things around the world that make me despair for humankind. But hopefully, you can always find a little something of a shard of hope, a bit of humanity that can make you sort of dry off your tears and get stuck in. That's what I'd say. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. I don't know if you remember me.
I do. We met him today, like twice.
I meet you, signature of Photoshop.
Yes.
I love you all, the Bob Church, Jessica Jones, Doctor Who.
Thank you.
But now I can hug you.
Can you hug me?
Yes.
Now, this is a one-off. Come here. Merci beaucoup. What's next?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so sorry. I'm very nervous.
So am I. There's all these people looking at you. Look, you're on telly.
First of all, I want to say that I think you're brilliant. You're my favorite doctor.
Thank you.
And I had two questions. The first one is, what's your favorite episode of Doctor Who? And the second one was, if I could get also a hug, but...
I think we'll be forming a line soon. I think that, the convention hall closes tonight. Favourites are hard, aren't they? It feels a little bit wrong to have a favourite because every episode, particularly Doctor Who, every episode was so different, and because we had a different cast, we had a different set of locations, each story was very uniquely itself. It feels like having favourites is wrong. It feels like we were kind of choosing between children or something. Each one was very individual and special, and I have very fond memories of each one. So I don't know that I've got a favourite, really. I had some very good times on a lot of them. It's always nice when old friends would come back. There were ones, and when we did Stolen Earth and Journey's End, it was everyone came back. We suddenly had a TARDIS full of chums. So that was one of the ones that I have fondest memories of filming, just because it was really nice to go to work with everyone all at once. But I don't have it. I'm really fond and proud of all of them, actually. My favourite's probably the last one that I saw a repeat of. So yeah, all of them, all the time. All the favourites, all the time.
Good day.
Hi.
How do you think you have evolved as an actor compared to when you started acting?
That's a very good question. How have I evolved? I mean, it's hard for me to even know. I think it's hard to be objective about things like that because it's so very subjective. I don't really know. I hope I've relaxed a bit. I think usually you do your best work when you're most relaxed. So I would hope I'm most relaxed. And there are moments when I think I've got better at that, and then there are moments when I think I'm completely useless at it. So I don't know. I don't know how I've evolved as an actor or as a human being. Maybe I haven't. You probably have to ask someone else. My wife will tell you. Ask her. She's good at things like that. She knows me much better than I know myself. So yes, I need someone objective to give me a steer on that. But it's a good question. It will make me think. Thank you.
Hi, David.
Hi.
I hope you're having a good time.
I'm having a great time.
Wonderful. I saw you play Richard II in London a few years ago. You were wonderful.
Thanks very much.
I was wondering, considering that in Shakespeare's time, a lot of roles that were women were played by men, obviously. If there's any women part that you would like to play that Shakespeare wrote, and why?
I think now is not the moment for men to be taking away women's parts. I think there's some very positive and necessary strides being made for gender equality in all industries, and certainly in the acting profession. That needs to be looked at. So I don't want to be contributing to that problem right now. I don't know. I mean, I suppose, there are lots, Shakespeare's written a lot of great roles for women and men. So yes, I'm sure I'd like to go at some of them, but I don't know. I wouldn't dare. It wouldn't be wrong. No, we need some of the women to take some of the men's parts for a bit. That's probably what we need to do. And then once it's all balanced out, we can answer that question. We have a way to go yet.
like making Broadchurch as much as Doctor Who and DuckTales because it's more serious?
It is Broadchurch is much more serious, you're right, than Doctor Who. Although often the more serious stuff is the one that is most hysterical off camera. Partly because you're doing some scenes that are very charged and often quite emotionally quite difficult. People are having to go to some quite dark corners of their psyche to tell the story. So it means that when the cameras are off, it can all get quite giddy and quite silly, which Broadchurch, I have to say, did at times. It was a very happy time. Different, very different to making Doctor Who, a completely different experience. Hard to compare, but equally special when I look back on it, certainly. And then DuckTales is different again, because that's just me in a room on my own, shouting into a microphone and jumping up and down and getting very sweaty and overacting a lot on my own with headphones. People, usually I'm in London and people are in Los Angeles. So it's all a very, very different sorts of experience. I mean, I'm very fortunate that I get to enjoy these different types of shows and these different types of experiences, and I feel very lucky. I wouldn't want to remove any of them. I'm greedy for the variety, so that's part of what I enjoy about my job. It's not a job really, it's just messing around, pretending.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, you're right there. I was looking, you're right there. That was easy.
Doctor Who was pretty much a good experience for you, but still, do you have any regrets? Maybe not playing more with your wife or anything you wanted to do?
Well, I wasn't married and I didn't have kids when I did Doctor Who, which worked out quite well. It was very all-consuming, more than any job I've ever done before or since, just in terms of the amount of work and the amount of homework you had to do, because Doctor Who's unlike anything else in that character talks a lot, and he talks fast, or he did when I did it, he talks fast. I mean, that was my own choice as well, I don't know why, I'm not complaining. But, so you had to learn lines a lot, so you'd be at home, you'd go home, you'd prepare for the next day, you'd be learning lines. Every weekend you had to just sit down and do your homework, and it would sometimes take a long time, because you have to, there's a lot of script to learn, and if you want to be able to rattle it off, you have to learn it really, really well. So I've often thought if I'd had a family then, I don't know how that would have worked. I don't know that there would have been enough hours in the day. So I'm very glad that things worked out, and that that part of my life only really happened towards the very, very end of Doctor Who. So it all worked out. That would have been a regret, I think, if I'd been doing the show at the same time, or it would certainly have been a very difficult compromise to make. So I don't think I have regrets beyond that. It was a wonderful time. I don't look back on any of it with anything other than fondness and gratitude. Really, it was a very special show, and it attracts a level of kind of love that it's very humbling to be in the middle of. It really is. I feel forever blessed by it.
This is my first convention, and
welcome, round of applause!
And I want to ask you, what was your scariest thing in Doctor Who?
Scariest thing in Doctor Who? Do you mean like in the show, or making the show, or either? Both? Neither. All of the above. I think in the show, I really liked, I thought Davros was pretty scary, because Julian Bleach, who played Davros, of course, was completely encased in all this extraordinary prosthetic makeup. So you couldn't really, he sort of didn't look like a human being, and yet he was so kind of animated and mad and crazy, and he frothed. So he was he was pretty scary. I don't know, did I ever get any scary times making the show? I'm trying to think. I mean, we blew things up quite a lot, and that's always quite exciting when you're around the kind of stunt team and they're doing something. And I remember there was a bit in the Lazarus experiment where I get sort of thrown forward by a big explosion. And it was really just like a bit of green screen. I think it was going to be the monster coming behind me, so we had a bit of green screen, they could put that on later. And they were going to set this explosion up, and I had to fling myself forward onto some crash mats, which was all quite exciting. I used to try and do as much of that as I could. Obviously, you have to take advice, and sometimes it has to be a stuntman because they are frankly better at that stuff, and less likely to, injure themselves than me. So, but now and again they would let me do stuff, and I was really up for this. So this is going to be great. I'm going to explode this thing. I'm going to fly forward on some crash mats. It's going to be so cool. It's going to be great. And then just before I went on, they came and they started smearing this gel all down the back of me, which was fireproof gel of some kind. They had to go in my ears and down the back of my neck. At which point you thought, maybe someone else should do this. Anyway, they did, and it was very exciting. And I loved doing things like that when I could. But of course, just as the cameras roll, just before you do something like that, there is a moment when you go, oh, this is quite scary, also exciting. A bit like when that roller coaster sort of goes up to just the bit just before it goes woof. But I love roller coasters and I love doing that. So yeah, scary but also fun.
Thank you.
Hello, hi.
Talking about acting, I would like to know more about your process of acting in itself. Do you think very hard or?
Depends what it is, really.
I don't know. It's more instinctive.
I think it depends on what the particular job is. Some things are purely imaginative. I mean, there's not, to play a 900-year-old alien, there's not a lot of real life research you can do. Whereas if you play someone like R.D. Lang, is a famous psychoanalyst who I played recently, for something like that, you've got movies to watch and books to read and people to talk to, and you can study exactly how he looked and how his mannerisms, and you can read his writings and try and make sense of how his brain would join up and try and so it depends. It so depends. Good Omens, again, you're playing a fallen angel who's been working for Lucifer for a while. There's not a lot of people, well, actually there probably are quite a lot of people you could talk to about working for Lucifer, but they're all busy in government. So yeah, it really depends. It depends on what it is, and it depends on if you have to find a particular mood. Then I guess you have to maybe take some time, and you have to find a way of getting yourself in a certain sort of headspace. And then other times it's very instinctive. I don't know. I don't really have an answer other than a bit of everything, a bit of a sort of buffet of options, I'd say. Hi.
Bonjour David.
Bonjour.
Tout d'abord, merci.
Où est le syndicat d'initiative? That's all I remember.
Désolée de ne pouvoir exprimer en anglais.
Très bon. Allez, tu dois prendre la première rue à gauche. Voilà, c'est le syndicat d'initiative.
Would you please translate that?
Merci d'être venu aujourd'hui. Pour la première fois, je crois, dans un pays francophone. Les Français vous attendent depuis très longtemps. À quand David Tennant à Paris au Comic-Con?
Just say yes. Just say yes.
Oui. C'est bon. Mais dites-moi, ok? Did that answer the question?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Next.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, how are you?
Très bon. Merci.
Good, thank you.
So I come from France too, and I want
As well as me, yes.
and
Moi aussi.
and I just want to know, what do you prefer in France, like food or people or all this stuff?
In France?
Yeah.
What French things do I like?
Yeah, French foods or...
Very well. You do very good red wine. I love France. I don't get there enough, which is weird. It's so close. But yes, I love France, and I love the food. I love the restaurants. I love the architecture. I love how rude the people in Paris are. I love that. It's sort of shocking at times. I love the gall of it, and I mean that pun in every sense. No, I love France. I feel it's exotic. I feel really uncool in France. I feel like everyone in France is cooler than me. And Belgium too. Très bon. Oui. Je suis très mignon.
Unfortunately, David, that's all we have time for. And you have a plane to catch, so you won't be here tomorrow.
I will not be here tomorrow. Will you miss me? Yeah! Oh, I'm so needy.
Do you have any parting words for your Belgian fans?
Thank you for having me. You have a lovely city. Everyone here has been so lovely and friendly and full of joy. It has been a true pleasure to be here. I wish I was here for longer, because there's a whiff of joy about this place, and thank you all for contributing to that. I hope you have a great weekend. Lots of love. Au revoir.